G'day, guys, and welcome to episode 56 of the Mindful Men podcast. I'm your host, Simon Rennie, and today I'm celebrating 1 year of the Mindful Men podcast with a reflection of 2022 and my thoughts leading into 2023. I want to start this episode by reflecting on the concept or practice of reflection. In social work terms, we think of this as critical reflection. We look at what happened at certain points in time and how our environment influenced the way that we engage with that situation. But when I say engaged, I'm meaning how we experience the situation, our thoughts and our feelings, and then our behaviors. As we start 2023, I've been in a reflective mode. I've been thinking about the start of 2022 when I published the first episode of the Mindful Men podcast. A few things were happening for me back then, and I'll take you through them. As I finished 2021 and received my final grades of my Masters of Social Work, I was hell-bent on starting my Mindful Men therapy business. I had a few clients who had been supporting through my social work placement at the end of my degree, and they wanted to keep working with me. I had dreams of stepping away from my 9 to 5 job to start my therapy business. And I had a lot of energy and enthusiasm for what the future held. But then nothing happened. And when I say nothing happened, what I really mean is that the therapy business didn't get up and running like I expected. In fact, lots actually did happen, but it all seemed to be working against me. The first thing was graduating from my master's degree. For some reason, my university didn't want to end the year with a graduation ceremony. And so for all the students who finished their degrees, we had to wait a few months into 2022 just to get the piece of paper to say that we're qualified social workers. This was a bit different to my undergraduate degree, where the graduation ceremony wasn't too long after receiving my final grades. And whilst in 1 year, people were saying to me, just start the business. Who would know? But the other ear told me that I just needed to wait until my graduation ceremony because then it would be official. This annoyed the hell out of me because I wanted to get a move on with my business, but I also didn't want to let the blokes down who were waiting for me so that they can continue their therapy. And whilst I was waiting for that piece of paper, I needed my 9 to 5 employer in the public service to sign off and let me work with clients in the NDIS space. This was really important because I was trying the whole gradual career shift thing. You know the one. I would take 1 day off of my 9 to 5 and use that to build up a client base. And then when that day was full, I would do another day and so on until my week was full of clients and I can finally say goodbye to my old job. But the public service being what it is, this was rejected due to conflict of interest. And I get this because I was in a role where I was pressing approve on funding for the NDIS, but it still hurt. I wanted out, and my best way out was now through a closed door. But I still held on to that dream of running my own business. I just didn't know quite how to get there at that time. Now, also in the background, I was building the Mindful Men website. I used WordPress, and according to YouTube videos, it was supposed to be a pretty straightforward thing. Use a template, click, drag, drop, change a color or text font here and there, finish the website. It's pretty simple stuff. But I found the opposite. Templates didn't work as intended, and the YouTube videos that I was watching weren't 100% accurate. So there was a lot of cursing and banging my head against the wall, and there were weeks where I wouldn't even look at the website. And when I didn't, I felt useless. So then when I did, I felt useless again. How could they make it look so easy on YouTube, yet when you do it yourself, it's just a disaster? This was how I was feeling. Eventually, I found a family friend who could help me out with the back end of the website, and we got it up and running. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it good enough? Yes. By the time graduation came around in about April 2022, I was in a mental mess. I was experiencing significant depression and anxiety, and I'd felt the lowest I had in years. Why? I just wanted to be in the Mindful Men space so bad, but I just couldn't get there. If I'm being honest, I was in such a hole that I was starting to get suicidal ideation. Now, this scared the shit out of me because I hadn't felt this way in years. And what it did do was start me questioning things like my ability to be a man, a dad, a husband, and even a therapist. When this started happening, I felt scared. I was scared that if I talked about what was going on, my wife would leave with the kids. I was also scared that if I talked about it, the police would come and handcuff me and take me away because I might be a danger to myself or my family. As I was going through this, I found myself spiraling down in my mental health, much like I did when burnout at the end of 2020. I felt flat and stressed, hopeless and angry. I hated the thought of working in my 9 to 5 and not having a clear path out of the career that no longer served me. I got to a point where I needed to wave the white flag and say I need some help. I started this off like I always do, and I told my wife the extent of my depression. She knew I was down, but she didn't know about the suicidal ideation. I dare say it might have scared her a bit. But like always, she didn't run a mile like I thought she would. She just encouraged me to go see my doctor. So off I went, and I saw the doctor, and I told him everything that was going on. My doctor put me at ease instantly. He reminded me that intrusive thoughts are thoughts that happen in moments of time, and they happen to everybody. He reminded me that I actually didn't want to kill myself, but I just needed help to sort through the mental mess that I was going through. This was a key moment for turning my 2022 around. And it was able to happen because I've been seeing this doctor about my mental health for years, and he knew how my brain worked. It wasn't as if he was taking a stab in the dark. He knew what I needed to get better and where to refer me to. He referred me to a psychologist who practices in mindfulness, and I loved it. And over the next few months, my psychologist helped me to flip the switch on my mindset. And he enabled me to stop seeing my life in such a negative way, but actually see the brightness in it. During my therapy process, something else happened that I've previously spoken about on the podcast, but also in my social media posts. I had a brand new ute on order, but its delivery was delayed for months and months because of COVID. Eventually, I got so sick of waiting that I decided to cancel the order. I thought that I would find a secondhand ute for half the price and then use the leftover money to step away from my old job and into the therapy business. When I conjured up this plan, I didn't think that my wife would give me the green light, but surprisingly, she did. And once we found a ute, I decided to resign from my old job and start Mindful Men, the therapy business. This all happened around August 2022. And since then, I've been slowly growing it from 1 client to 7 by the end of last year. Now, some of you might think that 7 isn't much, but to me, that's 7 blokes talking about what's troubling them. That's 7 blokes working with me to develop strategies to improve their health and well-being for the long term. It's 7 blokes that I can inspire to live their authentic lives. Now, at the time I'm recording and releasing this episode, it's January 2023. It's been a whole year since the depression was holding me down and beating me into a bloody pulp. It's almost been a year since I've become a qualified social worker. And it's been 5 months since I left that old job and started Mindful Men, the therapy business. As I step into 2023, I've often been thinking of those dark days a year ago and reflecting on all the growth that I've had since then. I've started the Mindful Men podcast and consistently released episodes every single week. I've built a website with no real tech skills. I've graduated from my Masters of Social Work degree. I've stepped away from my 15-year career in the public service and started a business. I've felt the highs and lows of small business, from the excitement of being open to the worry that the client queries haven't been coming in as fast as I thought that they would. I've been building networks with like-minded people and learning a lot about myself along the way. I start 2023 even considering whether I need to be on my meds. And part of me feels great and ready to be med-free. But the logical part of me, and also my wife, is saying just to chill a bit. Let's just see what happens in the next few months. In comparison to 2022, 2023 is already looking brighter. And whilst I haven't reached my initial business goals to replace my old income, I'm I'm starting to build a little bit of momentum and hope to be there at some stage in 2023. But this year's not just about money, it's also about mindset. Imposter syndrome was a big issue for me in 2022. Every time I felt I failed, I would look at the negatives. I would look at what I didn't achieve rather than what I had achieved and what I had also learned. So this year, I've committed to punching imposter syndrome in the guts. I'm bringing on a mindset coach, and I'm looking to let go of the control that I've been holding on to tightly in all aspects of my life. I'm looking to free myself from my mindset and end 2023 growing not only my business, but my mental strength. For so long, I feel like I've been fighting mental battles, but this year it's time to take the front foot and show the brain who is boss. I'm not really into New Year's resolutions, but I often find myself reflecting at the start of a new year. 2022 was tough, and for so many around the world. And I've seen a lot of social media posts already talking about how 2023 is going to be much better. Well, I'm joining that train ride, and I can't wait to see what 2023 brings to me, my family, the Mindful Men community, and my business. Now, before I go, a big thank you to all the listeners who have joined me over the past year. If you enjoy the show, please give it a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. The more ratings and subscriptions the show has, the higher it appears in the charts. And from there, we can help more blokes find the Mindful Men podcast and start their growth journey today. Well, that's it, guys. Happy New Year to everybody. And until next time, stay mindful. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you like it and leave a comment, and then share it with your mates. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a moment of future episodes to come.